Hello and welcome. My name is Jonathon Richter, and I'm a faculty fellow in the Vice Provost's Office of Educational Initiatives and Innovation at the University of Montana. This is our inaugural Montana Futures Forum webinar, and it's intended just as an overview of what we're about and our format, and an invitation to join us and our plans going forward. So welcome for those of you online, and thanks for joining us. So I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen here. All right. Great. So as I said, my name is Jonathon Richter. I'm a faculty fellow here in the office of the Sheriff Shulin, the Vice Provost for Educational Initiatives and Innovation. And I am here to assist in creating strategic planning and opportunities for the University of Montana to engage in innovation around new and emerging educational technologies. So for the Montana Futures Forum, we'd like to embrace this wonderful state of ours. Over 150,000 miles of river, 56 amazing counties, and 13 federally recognized indigenous tribes in our state, as well as 115 mammal species and many other fish and insects and trees, etc. The University of Montana has a lot of data and a lot of expertise about this state and beyond. We have 500 pathways to degree-seeking programs that we like to create around inclusive prosperity, our mission. We have great strength in the sciences and in the liberal arts education, including leadership in Indigenous studies. We're some of the best in the world in terms of doing outreach with our Native American collaborators and partners. And we are a world leader in environmental and health innovation. So amidst all of this, Montana is situated within this big world, this planet Earth. And there's a lot of data and expertise, trends, some simulations, forecasts, and lots of conversation about how Montana exists within this larger context, and how change and innovation are impacting us, and how Montanans are leading the way. So there's a lot of different kinds of things going on in Montana around technology, whether it's drones, rural and remote sensing, generative artificial intelligence, which is taking the world by storm, virtual, augmented, or mixed realities, and many other kinds of technologies that are just having significant impacts in terms of how and who, where, and when we access information and knowledge. Fortunately, the University of Montana has a great pool of expertise and many faculty, staff, and programs, as well as students who are engaged in innovative practices with these technologies. We have also a storied group of people here at the university who are dedicated to providing resources, curating those, and developing support services for faculty and students, and providing outreach across the state. And many of these resources and support services have a good focus on making sure that these resources and information is accessible, and that people of various abilities are able to participate in those opportunities. Experiential learning has long been a forte of the University of Montana, and through these innovative technologies and through the expertise that the university has, we're providing world-class experiential learning opportunities, many of which increasingly have these different kinds of technologies providing that access and marching forward into this future that we're all inheriting. So what is the Montana Futures Forum? Well, the Montana Futures Forum is a mechanism for the University of Montana to assist the state of Montana, as well as the university itself, in innovation. And that is to conceive of great ideas, brainstorming great ideas, from those prototyping the most promising of those ideas, validating those prototypes to see what works, and then igniting and letting those things scale. And as a part of this, we're talking about change. We're talking about change that we thoughtfully integrate and work with our many different kinds of expertise in all of their different kinds of situated kinds of understanding, whether it's in the workforce, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in the wilderness. Those changes we'd like to get out in front of and thoughtfully and meaningfully help Montanans to make the most sense of those kinds of changes. So as part of this, we've got a couple of things for the Montana Futures Forum. We're scanning the horizons. The pace of change is happening so fast, as many of you know. We're scanning the horizons, looking for those changes around the world, whether it's in artificial intelligence, workforce adoption, it could be anything. It's also all these different kinds of technologies, and highlighting those changes and then figuring out how those could be made of use within the state of Montana or might be impacting things within the state of Montana, and using this forum as a place for us to indicate those early signals. That's part of it. We're systematically scanning the horizon around the world. We're also systematically kind of looking around the state and throughout the University of Montana for early adopters, innovators, people who are making use of these technologies and are those harbingers of change as are occurring across the state. And we want to put a spotlight onto them. So collecting innovators and experts from around the state, helping them have a place to come together, that's our forum, and then shining light on Montanans who are leading the way in innovation. That is another opportunity that we think that the University of Montana can enable and create this mechanism for creating dialogue and providing some opportunities for people to innovate. After all, Montana is a wide, small town with really long streets, and the forum can be sort of a lamppost under which we can gather this to spread this light. So that's the start. So what does this mean? We have 3 components for this Montana Futures Forum, designed to be accessible, to work with people who are busy experts. You're already doing so much in your lives. There's a lot to go on. We have three techniques, 3 components for the Montana Futures Forum. Number 1, we've got a Microsoft Teams space for use to do this environmental scanning, whether that's what's going on around the world or what's going on statewide. And we want to consolidate some of that stuff so that we can curate and everyone can get their arms around that better. Secondly, for those of you or those situations that we want to shine particular light on, we'd like to cultivate some spotlights on Montanans, have them come on and do webinars. And then the occasional, we're thinking perhaps each semester or so, we'll do a meetup where we'll actually invite people to gather, and then we'll try some things out, play, meet, and create collegiality around these innovations. So first of all, the online team space for Microsoft Teams. Like I said, this is for systematically scanning the horizon and looking for those signals of innovation. That's both globally as well as within the state of Montana. Globally, we can look at all kinds of different, any kind of different innovations. The pace of change is absolutely astonishing. We'd like you to get active in the Futures Forum MS Team space and help us find things as professors and as researchers, as students, as administrators, and as support staff. You are looking at your feeds, and there are things popping up that we'd like to sort of combine or cultivate those and populate our Futures Forum so that we can have a better understanding collectively of the different things that are happening in these spaces. So we'll do this globally, and we'll do this statewide. Part of the internal scan for our statewide resources and innovation, we'd like to do maybe some surveys. So look soon for a survey to come out at the University of Montana to just find out what people are doing and what level of interest they might have in a variety of different kinds of emerging technologies. So these webinars and meetings that we have will be posted on our forum. So you'll find out about what's coming up, those schedules, and then you'll also receive an invitation, and then it'll show up on your calendar when we have those kinds of events. And then finally, the asynchronous dialogue we hope will bloom on our Microsoft Teams space. So if you miss a webinar like this one, you will we'll get the recording and we'll put it in the webinar or in the Microsoft Teams space for you to watch following, and then dialogue, comments, resources, and links can be dropped into the respective webinar channel, and we can kind of grow our collection of Montana-focused spotlights that are connected to different kinds of trends, et cetera. So meetings or meetups that we have, we may also keep some notes or minutes, and those will also be posted in the team space. Okay, so you can kind of see here on the left, there are those channels. There's an external scan spot and an internal scan spot, and then a place for webinars and our meetings. So, for instance, this was an announcement for this very event. Thank you for showing up to this webinar, for those of you in attendance today. But you will see that you will be able to get that announcement, and it's on this team space going forward for future ones. So what are the webinars? Well, our Montana Futures Forum webinars are, again, designed to be high impact, but low cost in terms of development. These will be curated, right? So if you sign up to do a webinar, we may send or work out a set of a protocol for questions and answers and a structure for doing the webinar. But we want it to be accurate. This is not just a puff piece. we want to dig into some of the challenges that these emerging technologies and trends are posing for Montanans. Change is hard. Change is difficult. Change requires strategy. And so we'd like to open those things up and dig into some of those things within these webinars and explore kind of what's going on in Montana and worldwide that we can do. So we'll aim to connect these worldwide innovations with the Montana people and places to combine a sort of global highlight with a Montana spotlight. And here's what I mean. For example, I cooked up some examples. This might be the social media card that we'd put out there once we open this up to become public, that is. So these are fake, but back on October 24th, we could have had perhaps a global highlight of Christina Imperial Carl, who is the CEO of this company Edify out of the Philippines, who works with Filipino speakers using artificial intelligence created virtual reality custom training to help them learn how to be better at hotel and hospitality management. So they're working within the field of hotel management, and the VR is custom created for that specific hotel. And you can see Christina Imperial Carl's webinar that we did for the Immersive Learning Research Network. I'll drop that in the forum. But we might have paired that with our Montana Futures Forum partner, Mr. Paul Gladen, the director of Accelerate Montana, and perhaps some of his colleagues on their efforts to do remote workforce development at scale across Montana. And indeed, Paul and his wonderful staff are doing amazing things at just that. And so that would be a good pairing. Another example, to pick on another friend and partner of mine, Jason Neifer. He is the Chief Executive Director of the Montana Digital Academy. And Jason knows artificial intelligence. He is a local resource on how we should be thinking about that, how we should be working with that, and how artificial intelligence can and is changing things in K-12 and indeed in higher education. So I put Jason as both our global highlight. He could help with that, and then also moving into a spotlight on what he and the Montana Digital Academy are doing specifically here statewide. And I made it up that he did this on Halloween, and that happened at 4 p.m. Before the trick-or-treaters showed up. So that would be an example as well of something that might be hosted on the Montana Futures Forum webinar. How about meetups? Well, occasionally I think it might be a good idea for this growing group of innovators at the University of Montana and beyond to think about getting together to actually try some of these technologies and innovations. So ostensibly, we might get together in the same place at the same time and see if we can set up an opportunity for us to play, innovate, and build community. So as an example, this was, again, fictitious, that it happened, this was yesterday at the Mansfield Library at noon. We might have gathered as a forum, anybody who could make it at noon, to come to the Mansfield Library and try hands-on opportunities to try Frame VR, Victory XR, and Body Swaps technologies. 2 of those 3 we actually have available now at the University of Montana for faculty, staff, and students to actually use. We don't yet have body swaps. I'm hoping we can push for that. But if you wanted to try Frame VR or Victory XR, we absolutely could have had this opportunity set up. So that's an example of something to try, because technology adoption doesn't happen unless first you know about what it is, and then second, that it actually might be something that you could really use in your everyday life, and that you need to play with things, try some things, and maybe meet some other people who have tried some things, and then the adoption can happen. And we're looking to kind of accelerate some of those things. So again, we have 3 components for the Montana Futures Forum. That includes scanning, spotlights, and playdates or meetups. What we would like you to do is to participate in any regard or all of these regards that make sense to you. We're beginning this Montana Futures Forum in some developmental phases I have here at the bottom of my screen. We're going to start internally at the University of Montana with innovators and programs and support services across the university who are already in these spaces in different ways. And if you have not yet become part of the Montana Futures Forum, MS Teams, I'll have a link for you to send me an email, and I would be happy to invite you to the MS Teams environment. So we're starting with the internal university innovation audience. And then we'll, as we get our protocol down, as we get things worked out and things are situated and seem to be working well, we'll expand to include students and open it to cross-campus environment. We actually have a graduate student in game design and immersive experiences who is eager to do a showcase of the work that he is doing in December. So that'll be our alpha trial for including students into our forum. And then again, as the university is comfortable and we feel like this is working well, we'll open it up to select public events, not all of it, but some public events, so that around the state, people can start checking out our webinars, participating in some of the forums, adding to the forums, and perhaps even coming to Missoula for some playdates. And who knows, we may have some playdates go on the road and cover our big, beautiful state. So that's the format for the Montana Futures Forum. We'd like you to get involved. Please join the Microsoft Teams environment and participate by adding news articles, journal articles, anything that represents these trends or new technologies or emerging potential or even challenges to Montana, and they can be anywhere in the world. And we're also, of course, really looking for Montana spotlights, so people, projects, and things going on within the state that we can start collecting all of this light together. Another way you can get involved is sign up to be a special guest on a webinar. There are many people out there with expertise, but you, with your particular expertise in your area, if you're doing innovation, it could be a lot of different things. We would love to see if you'd like to come on and showcase your work. This is a way to amplify the impact of what you're doing in your classroom, in your laboratory, out in the field with different people or whatever your subject matter is. So let us know. Or perhaps you are one of you have a place that might be a great spot to host a play date or a meetup for some reason. It could be an augmented reality thing that we would explore. Um, or you could be someone at the university or outside of the university who might be a great partner for the Montana Futures Forum. If you have an innovation slant in your work, or maybe that's your main game, we'd love to talk to you at the Vice Provost's Office of Educational Initiatives and Innovation. So my name's Jonathon Richter. There's my email there at the bottom, and we would absolutely be so happy to collaborate with you and co-design this future of ours together. Thank you for joining. And I have one last thing. For those of you who are joining the Montana Futures Forum now, during the month of November, we have 10 copies of this new book, Digital Wellbeing, which is a wonderful way of looking at, realistically looking at how these incredible technologies can actually be built to create better connections and cultivate creativity and collaboration. This is by my colleague, Caitlin Krause at Stanford University has written this wonderful new book, and the Vice Provost's Office for Educational Initiatives and Innovation, through their partnership with the Immersive Learning Research Network, is participating in this book club. So connect with us on the MS Teams, and I'll get you a copy of your book, and we can read and explore that together. So that said, welcome, let's innovate, and I'll see you in the future. Thanks. Bye-bye.